Hey guys! So A2 was giving me trouble in the barn because I never go on exactly at 7 o'clock. So here I am. I hope you guys are ready for me because usually I'm always a couple of minutes late, which is, typical for me, which is probably bad as a dressage rider. But, everything just runs into the next thing. And before you know it, it's late. So anyway, today I'm on time, thanks to A2. Couple of quick announcements. We are still working on the tech room chats in the academy, and I think it should be up and running pretty soon. We had a little problem with Zoom. It just got recorded in a little bit different way, but we are sorting it out, and Catherine and Cerise are, amazing computer technicians, so it should be ready to go any minute now. And next Monday is our second tech room chat. And I gotta double check who is gonna host with Ashley, but we're gonna talk about the proper warm up, honoring your horse, which is the warm up with Fiji, and Darby's bonus with the walk. So if you're in the academy and you wanna review those videos, that's what we're gonna all talk about next week on Monday. And we got a couple exciting things happening. We are making quick headway up to 4,000 people into Team Tate TV. I just want to remind everybody that we're going to give again 1 year free access into the academy in a working student position for anyone who invites the 4,000th member. And so the inviter and the 4,000th member gets free access into the academy for a whole year. So we like to share it with everybody, and we're really excited about it, and just think it's really fun for everybody to be involved. So that's that. So keep telling your friends about this, and of course I'll always be here on Wednesdays to chat about whatever we come up with. I never have problems talking about horses, but yeah, subjects are always like, I just don't know what everybody wants to hear about. So don't be shy. Send me a message. Yeah, it's always fun to have a list of what to talk about. But tonight I'm going to talk about, we had a couple of interesting concepts this week with some of my students. So I want to talk about that a little bit, as well as the importance of cross-training. But before we get into that, I do want to say exciting things are happening, because Allie Brock is coming for a clinic this weekend. So that'd be really fun to see my coach and one of my best friends, and that'd be great. And then we'll also have a little special guest. We're still working out the details, but I think Patrick King is gonna stop in maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, so that'd be fun too. Maybe I could talk him into coming live, so that'll be fun. He's a wonderful horseman, and I can't wait to, have a conversation with him, show him our place. And another big thing, we are working on getting Charles the Comfy here, who is in his early 80s, and I was really worried about having him travel during the time of COVID, but he is on the road. He wants to travel, he wants to teach. He thinks the airports and the airplanes are gonna be pretty safe. So his schedule is booking up. So what I'm thinking about maybe in November is doing an instructor seminar with, of course, social distancing and everything. But I thought it would be great to not only be able to put it in the academy, but open it to auditors and people who are interested in learning his way of teaching. We could do like a 2-day clinic, but also like a 2-day instructor seminar program. So if you're interested, let me know and we'll get you on the list. So that's like in the works. So we hope to get that announced pretty quick as soon as we confirm some dates. So that'll be really great. We had a good horse show. I did not show anyone, which felt weird. Darby lost a shoe, otherwise I'm sure he would have gone. And everybody else is just waiting up for regionals, and then Gideon's gonna do the CDI in October at Tryon, so that'd be great. Devon, the week of Devon is going to be so fun. If you guys could actually any of you out there who love Devon as much as me, if you could do a little video of how much you love Devon and what it means to you and how much you miss it this year, and you could Facebook Messenger it to me, that would be awesome. I will get it to the powers that be, and we want to share it on the Dressage at Devon Facebook page, because Devon is just so much fun, and we can't wait to come back even stronger next year, but we do need all of your help. We need to support it and give Devon some love, but we've organized a bunch of freestyles, a lot of the past winners, some amazing videos from years past, and George Williams and Ann Gribbons will be giving like commentary on the videos, and I will be your host. And then we need to vote. So everybody needs to, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, everybody needs to tune in to Dressage at Devon Facebook, 7 o'clock, Saturday night, when the freestyles would normally be happening, because we need a vote. We need the people's choice. We need to hear from the people. So yeah, we're just wanting to bring everybody together and enjoy Devon in a warm, safe, cozy place, which is normally not Devon. It's usually raining and freezing. So that'll actually be really fun to do that too. We saw Allison Springer last weekend. She did really well at the event here in Tryon. It was really fun to see a lot of eventers. Everyone seems to be riding really well. A lot of the horses were over their back and connected really well. So that was a really fun thing to see over on the eventing side of the showgrounds at Tryon last weekend. So Allison was in the top 5 with all 4 of her horses. So it was a good weekend, and she's a longtime student and, you know, our in-house badass. So we love her. And she came over for dinner, and I just forgot to interview her. So I'm going to get her next time, I promise. So then I wanted to talk about 2 separate things tonight. Number 1, this week we actually had some really fun lessons with a lot of my students, and Tori Stewart came up with a really great image that I wanted to share with everybody, and we were laughing about it today because Eula Dalos, who I train with in Europe, would always like put his finger up and he'd always be like, Jessica, more down seat. And I would be like, I don't know what that is. I don't even know what that means. Like, I know I should like sit down more and like be weighted into the saddle, but like, should I push down, or should I, how do I create that down seat? And he would always say like more knee down and heel down. And he, with his very simple words, because English was like his 3rd language. So, it's like amazing that was his 3rd language and he was able to communicate with me. And actually the simplicity of what he would tell me actually made it better for me to kind of figure out what he meant. You know, I had tried a couple different things inside my body to see like, did he like that? Like, am I doing it? You know, what's happening? So it was actually a great way, honestly, to learn. And he would always say, you know, more knee down, more heel down, more down seat. And when you see any of Eula Dalos's videos, he just has this amazing anchored, weighted down, gravity is like pulling him down to the ground, and he's just sitting like a centaur on the horse. I would say, like Stefan also has a really great seat. Gunther Seidel, also amazingly draped down seat. And so Tori was riding in her lesson, and she was like, I got it. I was walking the dogs, and I had this imagination that I had these sandbags on my shoulders that were sort of like just weighting me down. And it was interesting because if you imagine these sandbags on your shoulders, and if you lean forward a little bit, the sandbags are going to make you sort of like fall down in front. If you get like left behind the motion, your sandbags are going to make you like arch your back and like fall backwards and behind the motion. So she has been feeling this, and I can see it, I can witness it, this different alignment of her upper body over her pelvis, and this centeredness and this groundedness. And we thought we would just share that with everybody. Catherine Williams also this week found, actually today was awesome, and she really found this authority in her elbows where, you know, we keep telling everyone, like, and don't pull, don't pull, don't pull. But the truth is, like, we all pull until we learn how not to pull. And so it takes a long time to hear your trainer, like, stop pulling, you know. But then, of course, you're just like, oh, you know, you just kind of keep pulling because it's hard to figure out what are the other parts of your body that need to kick in that aren't your hands. And so much of that is this ability to be a little bit grounded under your sandbags, as well as allow that to go down into your elbows. Because then when you truly like sit down, your wrists can actually still stay very supple, and you don't like grab a hold of the contact and like hold on to the horse, because your authority has gone like down into your seat, from your sandbags down into your elbows. And oh, Kelly, Tori stole my sandbag idea. Well, we always talk about sandbags. Like sometimes we talk about sandbags being tied around your ankle, you know, and then it like pulls your heel down. Sometimes we talk about like, sometimes I even say to my students, like, imagine you're carrying a water bucket or a heavy purse. Like I have a heavy purse because I carry my life around in my purse. And so you want to feel like, I don't want to grab it with my hand. I want to like put my elbow under it and like carry my purse with my elbow. That weights down your body. And the horse feels that intention. It's awesome. But Tori had this idea of like balancing these sandbags and that they're like on top of her shoulder and that they would just like ground her down. And she has a little bit, she's not super spicy, but she's got a little red pony who's got a lot of energy. And so she needs a little bit this grounding, this centering, this weightedness. You know, the horse needs to learn to wait. So she needs to wait, and Tori also needs to be weighted. So it's kind of fun play on words. But this idea that like the more you can sit down and the less you can pull on their face. I mean, horses are claustrophobic. So the more we get into, you know, riding in their face, the more they just want to like keep running, of course. And then we sort of like tighten up their hind legs because we're pulling. So then it's like, well, how the heck do I slow this horse down? And you want to think about being really anchored down, down seat, sandbags, wherever you want to put them, and find that power down through your elbow. Catherine had some awesome halt transitions. The horse was completely square behind. I mean, he was square in front too, but it's always like hard that he's like, one hind leg's a little bit out. But she was just like half halt, boom. And she just like sat down. Shoulders went down, elbows went down, seat bones went down, and the horse like freaking stopped. It was awesome. So that was really fun. And then we all laughed because I told the ladies, I'm like, well, I did not make this stuff up. I did not make this up. I am just the bearer of the news, you know, that Charles has told me, his teachers told him, and I have attempted to do it correctly on, oh my God, like hundreds of horses for the last 30 years. So that's a lot of practice, and it works. So we're sticking to it. And if you join the Academy, you can get all kinds of lessons. I just took 5 more videos yesterday. Yeah, we worked on, I showed a little bit groundwork, which I'm going to talk about next, because I wanted to talk a little bit about cross training and like what we all do with our horses and what do we find beneficial. And in this new video, I used my 6-year-old because you guys all wanted to watch the process. So I've got Denali in there. It's not my 6-year-old. He's owned by Keki and Dean, who also owned Darby. But he is like in the beginning of his career. He's this beautiful, totally sexy black horse. He's just like, so beautiful looking. Bred by our dear friends Ingo and Susan Papa, and he's just beautiful. but he's tight, and he just gets tight in his back and then kind of like tight in his neck. And because he's early on in his career, he doesn't equally load both hind legs, and so he's not equally connected to both sides of the reins. So clearly there is a major crookedness thing going on, but he's born that way. Everyone's born that way. So it's our job to really make them ambidextrous. And then it's like, okay, well, how do we do that? Like, what do we do with their bodies? You know, and I know a lot of you guys want me to do some videos of lunging. I think that's a great idea. I do have a big announcement that I rode Freddie, the 4-year-old, with no lunging today. And there's a hurricane coming, and he was awesome. So that was fun. It was a big day today. But it's funny because I just started to incorporate, I think part of coronavirus sort of helped me, kind of spurred me on to do a bit more of this. And Claudio helps me a lot in Florida with my horses learning piaffe. And there was a bridge. I needed the gap of like what my horses know under saddle, and then what Claudio comes and does with them on the ground. And I just didn't do it. I don't know why I didn't do it. I guess I felt like I didn't have time and I wasn't good at it, and I don't know. I didn't know really what I was looking for. And I've done a lot of the TRT. Tristan Tucker is amazing. He's helped me a lot think through a lot of interesting questions about some horses. But like I didn't then like connect that into how, like I know how to do the leg lifts, but I didn't really use the groundwork to like get the horse to understand how to bring the hind leg under, raise the back and soften the neck, and like step the hind legs into my reins. So I just started doing it with everyone. Claudio really helped me change the piaffe on Gideon and Montana, but they were like Grand Prix horses, right? So they know, start clucking at them and they're going to do it. Apollo had no idea at all what to do. Denali didn't really go on the bit. Freddie was a little bit sensitive to the whip. Bettina was running and like, tight into the contact. Who else is there? Darby's also fast and strong into the bit. I think that was all the horses I did. I think there's, Isaac. Oh my God, Isaac. Isaac is like, do not touch me with that whip and I'm going to squeal at you. So he needs sort of some taming going on there. But so they're all totally different. And I thought to myself, well, if I want to have Claudio come over and train these horses to piaffe, like there is some homework I need to be doing that's going to create this bridge that is going to be much easier for them to do it. And then they all kind of started piaffing. So then I was like, okay, well, I need Claudio to come up here and help me make sure I'm doing it okay. Because it's easy to always make sure someone else is the expert. Someone else does it better. But we never get better at doing something unless we're out there doing it. So I just started fiddling around with it. And lo and behold, everybody got pretty good. I showed Allie what I was doing and she was really happy with it. And then we added in actually some groundwork with Denali of reining him back quite a bit, even in little like figure 8 circles, to just have him coordinate his pelvis and figure out where he needs to unlock to do that. So groundwork has been a really interesting incorporation into new part of my program. And we just did a video on it, so it should be coming out soon into the academy of, like how going on the bit really starts on the ground. Getting the horse between your leg and the hand starts on the ground. A lot of my horses now don't need to be lunged. They're older, they're trained. Some are just very naughty on the lunge line, to be honest. Gideon would be a perfect example of, he's a cheeky pony, and that would just be a fun excuse to zip around like a ding-dong. So his legs, I'm not going to do that. But like spending 10 minutes on the ground, game changer. So look for that to come out. I might even share it here too. it's just been a lot of great people, kind of, it all came together in the right moment, and then I was forced to stay at home. So I just started doing it. It's been a really huge help. Lunging. Yes, lunging is a big thing too. And again, we just had, one of my students was lunging a young horse, and he was sort of like dogging it and not really stepping to the bridle. And I'm like, you need to like get his hind legs going and connect him to the bit. And he needs to, even though you're lunging and you're not on him, he still needs to be between the leg, which is your whip in this case, and your hand, which is the lunge line and the side reins. And it was really interesting to see how much better he behaved under saddle, just even being lunged with a little bit more concentration on him being on your aids. Because it isn't like, oh, just like let him go run around and buck it out, you know. It still needs to be a concentrated thing. I hand walk my horses quite a bit before I lunge them. Same idea, that I don't want them to go like trotting and cantering too quickly before they're warmed up. I'm like a freak about they need to walk, they need to be warmed up. Sometimes, depending on the horse, I let them lunge. I just tie the reins up. Sometimes I let them lunge just free a minute so they can stretch out. I have another horse. We tie the reins to the girth like in Germany. You know, it's, yeah, it's all dependent on each horse. But yeah, I love the groundwork. That has just changed my life. I don't think I'm awesome at it yet, but I'm not going to get awesome if I don't do it. So I'm doing a lot of practicing. I hope to share it soon in the academy. Everyone's talking about long lining. Jennifer Hoffman, who's a longtime student of both mine and Richard's. And Kelly, no, I'm not doing the lunge lessons on Gideon because I'm going to fall off. He bucked me off. But long lining is a wonderful thing too. My husband happens to be totally awesome at it, so that's fun. And it's not also for every horse either. Like, we don't have the whole entire barn get long lined. We like to work with my horses. I can get through a lot of things riding. But with my younger horses, it is nice to have Richard sort of see if we can just get them a little bit straighter, a little bit more in self-carriage. I do know, like, some long lining is sort of kind of taken in the wrong way, where it's like, I'm going to tie your head down and then like drive you forward, and I'm just going to, you know, like make you get on the bit. That is not the kind of long lining we do. We also, it's not totally only focused on piaffing. We teach piaff a lot more with like leg lifts, a lot like Tristan Tucker. And Morton Thompson, who I learned a little bit from. I'd like to learn more about that. But, you know, then we just do some different connecting, the whip and, you know, things like that. So we teach piaff on the ground. And Richard certainly, like, some horses start to do it. But it's not like, and now we teach you piaff because I can hold you back and tap you with the stick. What's amazing about long lining is that the horse is totally independent from the rider's seat and leg, which probably does a lot of supporting of the horse. So this is like the horse has to just totally balance himself, figure it out, and find his own way to kind of get connected and step under with the inside hind leg, totally separate from the rider, which sometimes even for riders is really powerful for them to watch. That, oh, look, that's what he does. That's what I'm feeling under saddle. And now I understand that because I can see that. You know, we're all different learners as far as kinesthetic, auditory, or visual. And sometimes things get totally clear when you're like out of the saddle and you're watching it in a neutral way kind of play itself out. So that's really great too. I've got my... I'm really working on Apollo's trot. So I came up with the concept that I am in my rhythm, I'm a very rhythmical person. I danced a lot. I still dance. I love dancing. I mean, I took dance class. I played instruments. I played the saxophone. Like, I'm very, like, musical orientated. And Apollo is actually a jazz musician. So that makes me way more patient every day when he's like, I'm like, will you please like stay on a rhythm, stay on a beat. I need like 4 on the floor. I need like steady beats. And Apollo's just like on this weird jazz riff, just like totally off. And I'm like, I can't find your beat. And he's just like, da-da-da-da. He's like brilliant and amazing, totally not on my beat. So it's been a real place of frustration. So then I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I'm getting the ground poles back out. So now the ground poles are up there. I put them kind of closer and higher so that he's like really starting to learn some passage. And I remember I taught Bawdy, Sandy Stavropoulos' really sensitive mare. I taught her how to passage over ground poles, and it took a long time. Of course, it's like, you know, do you have a year? Because that's how long it's going to take. But we do. Oh, what do we have besides time? Better that than like whipping him and, you know, frustrating everybody. So I thought, got to get my ground poles back out. So now Freddie, the 4-year-old, he's gone over the ground poles. Denali went over the ground poles. Like now everyone's going over the ground poles. And I love ground poles. I mean, if I could have them set up every day, which they basically are in the ring, set up every day, it's awesome. It's awesome for the horse to learn without any pressure how to unlock their whole back and swing in their torso joints, right? Like we always talk about like, oh, their fetlocks and their knees and their hocks and la la la. But like, what about the shoulder? You know, what about the hips? What about the sacroiliac has to let go and the hips have to be able to swing? Ground poles does that for you. So I love ground poles, and I'm going to do actually a couple of different videos of ground poles. I don't do a lot of cantering over the ground poles, but I do a lot of like trotting over them, canter, back to trot over the ground poles. I never do more than 3. I don't know if my horses have just been very klutzy or what, but if I get up to like 5, I feel like they just start sometimes like rolling over them, and it's just, you know, I want to also connect aids to that moment they're going over the ground pole so that then I can like recreate it on the other side of the circle. So let's say like passage, for instance. I'm put the ground poles a little closer and higher. So, and I always like alternate. So like one side is high and then the next side is high and then the next side is high. So they have to find the middle, obviously, but then they have to really slow down and pick up their legs a little bit higher. So that unlocks the back. It's amazing. And then, so he learns a little bit the rhythm for passage, and I can add either a sound to that or my aids to that, and I can really help him. Then I imagine I have like this 3 other ground poles on the opposite side of the circle, and I do those same aids or that sound. You know, that's I'm reading, which is why sometimes my thoughts. So Arthur Coda set up like 12 ground poles. Yeah, so that's too many for me. I don't like to do too many. I like to repeat them often, but I don't think lots in a row is more beneficial. I like to do 3 ground poles, 3 to 4, raised a little bit, only raised on one side. And then I like to do interesting things on the opposite sides of the circle. So I'll trot through them, I'll pick up canter, back to trot, over the ground poles, back to canter, change, you know, all kinds of things like that. Then I also, when I'm teaching like more, like I want to teach the horses how to move better, which is sort of like my jam, I then will put them closer and higher together again. And then I will do shoulder in or shoulder out, haunches in or haunches out on the opposite 3/4 of the circle. I'll straighten them out, trot them over the poles, collect them again. So the horse really has to like get, let me into his body and let me really move his molecules around is what I really, because at the end of the day, every horse has an international trot in there. It's about them finding their ability to let go and their ability to balance and their ability to trust themselves to kind of move more than what they really want to do, you know, by nature. So I love ground poles for that. I also love green grass. I think getting the horses out on uneven ground is incredibly important. Trot hills, walk hills, canter on a big field. I think that's awesome. I have a great story about Fiji, who was just a wonderful, he's so great. But not the most like, wow, international horse, you know? So we taught him his flying, like he kind of knew a flying change, but they're kind of flat and kind of boring. So when I was up in Chesapeake City, we had this wonderful field in the back that when the grass would get high, he'd have to really like pick up his feet and, you know, be sort of up and out of the ground. And I made him learn his change. I made him do more changes out there because all of a sudden he would really like jump over his back and have a little fun and have that expression. And so Fiji, you know, really found his expression, you know, doing flying changes out in the field. Summer would have killed me out there and then probably killed herself running loose after she lawn darted me somewhere. She hates big wide spaces. She loves her arena. She loves the outdoors. She doesn't need to be inside all the time. But big giant spaces is not the Red Queen's jam. No. We survived Devon, so I'm proud of that. But, you know, if I just didn't need to make her a trail horse or a big open field horse if she didn't find fun in that. So yeah, so she didn't do that. She did a lot of ground poles and a lot of different work in the ring. And she could like walk around and stuff, but she'd get real crazy cantering in a big open space. So that we didn't do that with her. Kelly wanted to know if I do my ground poles on a curved line. And I would say I have short poles, so they're on a tiny bit of a curve. But I do like to ride straight through them. So they're kind of on my 20-meter circle line, but I only have 3 and they're kind of short guys. So there's not a huge curve, but I do like curved ground poles, and I find that's also really helpful. So I don't think yeah, Kelly's my ground pole queen. I think curved or straight. At the end of the day, if you can make sure you do as many to the left and as many to the right on your curved ground poles, then that might be interesting. But of course, no horse is totally straight, so you're probably gonna have to do like 60% more in one direction than the other direction. So I just do my work and then I ride over the ground poles straight. That's just for me, because at the end of the day, we all want the horse to be straight. So I want to create that both legs evenly come up, because I can't really remember that I went over, did I go over 8 times to the right or like 7 times to the left? And so I ride pretty straight over my ground poles. Mary Pat loves slopes for conditioning. Yes. We have a wonderful farm here. We're lucky. I mean, the hurricane's coming, so I hope everybody south of us is okay, because that was a little scary. Very slow moving and lots of rain. But we got really lucky this summer. It didn't get too hard. The ground was not too hard, and it rained a lot, so the grass is green. I know Richard's sick of mowing, but thank you, honey. It looks pretty. So we were able to ride out the whole summer. A lot of times it gets really hard and then a little slick. So that's when we don't ride out then. But we've got like a couple of different areas that's like steeper hill, less just a gentle slope. So I love that as well. And yeah, what else? I think that's about it. We like to just keep a nice variety for the horses. And again, like if they don't find fun in hacking, then we don't force them to do it if they don't love that to do that. I love to walk them outside as much as possible. I remember a couple of years ago, before we found this place, I was kind of just like figuring out like what I was gonna do with my career, and Stefan, who's like, I love SFP, I love Stefan Peters, dear person to me, and always answers all my questions, and God bless him for that, because I always have a lot of questions. And he was like, yeah, you should move your business out to California. So we went out there and we saw it, and I was like, I need some green grass. I'm like, I love you guys, but Shannon's amazing and like everyone's so great out there, but I'm like, I need grass. I need to be able to canter with grass under their feet. It's just part of what makes my soul happy. So we ended up getting lucky enough to be here, and we've got great ground, and no bugs, so it's really great. There's one more question. Wendy, do you jump them? No, I do not jump them. I mean, not on purpose. Sometimes we jump around, but very rarely. Actually, my horses are all pretty well behaved, because they trust me and they love to work for me, and I make it fun and I make their bodies feel good, and I'm tough when I need to be, but really encouraging, a lot like how I teach. So no, I don't do much jumping. I know some people do like once a week free jumping. I think that would be great. I don't have really the facility for that, and I really mind, I take really to heart, and I mind how I'm working my horses' bodies. So I don't feel like once a week I need to let them crack their backs jumping, because I feel like the work I do during the whole week, the therapies we have in the barn with like the TheraPlate and our awesome new Pro Series blanket, our Revitavet, like we just keep their bodies feeling good. So I don't do a lot of jumping, but you know, horses that want to change a career, I support that. Like, they don't need to do this and be unhappy. You know, Hans is alive and well up at Amy Boyer's house. He did a lot of jumping. I'm going to share a big story about him soon, because after 2 colic surgeries, he needed a change of pace and a change of life. And I'm so grateful to Amy for doing such a great job with him. So he's jumping. He loves it. So maybe that's his new career. So we'll see. So yeah, I like to listen to the horses and listen to their bodies and make sure they feel as good as they can in their bodies, and kind of create a program, you know, around that. Some horses go out twice a day. Most just go and turn out and then go for riding. So yeah, I think that's about it. So thank you so much for joining me. We've got some exciting things happening this weekend. Oh, one more thing. We are going to have a very interesting talk tomorrow night with a couple of my favorite people. Dr. Jenny Susser is going to join me and Chris Severson and Cerise and Catherine. And we are thinking about creating a little mental health corner inside the Academy, because one of my dear friends, Teresa Buddha, left this world the beginning of the year, and that was really sad for me. And I did a couple of Facebook posts, and I was shocked at what a chord that hit in the equestrian community, of how everyone struggles with depression, anxiety, you know, dealing with the pressure of, you know, all of it, keeping the clients happy, riding the horses, competing well. I mean, there's just so much. We're exhausted most of the time. We work our bodies to the nth degree. You know, the horses get the massage blankets and all the amazing things, and we're just like, take some Advil, you'll be fine, you know. And it's hard to show up on a consistent basis when it isn't a culture yet of self-care. So I know a couple of you have reached out to me, and I really appreciate that. Anyone else who feels the need, definitely reach out to me, because we are going to create something really special, and I would love more thoughts on what we're going to do. So yeah, so look for that. And again, if anybody wants to be involved, definitely send me a Facebook message. And oh God, Carol, Robaxin and a beer. That's not a good example, but I get that. I've learned to take really good care of my body, eating way better. I do isogenics shakes every day, helps with my muscle quality, helps me live pain-free. I do a lot of yoga, meditation, you know, all those kinds of things. But mental health is a big deal, and we need to take care of ourselves so we can take care of everyone else and ride our horses great. So be on the lookout for that. Allie's coming this weekend, Patrick King. I hope I can get them both live on Team Tate TV. So if you guys have any special questions for them, definitely send me a note, and I will see you soon. All right, so thank you guys for joining, and make it a great night. All right, bye.